This video is brought to you by StoneAgeGamer.com, a fantastic site for retro games, systems, accessories, and more. Be sure to check out StoneAgeGamer.com. Skip it up and that up. The whole violent video games bullshit is never going to go away. Why is it never going to go away? Because politicians want money out of developers and publishers, and they know that most of the American population that doesn't game is completely ignorant to gaming, and they think that violent video games actually are dangerous, even though they aren't, and there are labels on games, just like there are movies, to let parents know if a game is bad for them. So before I start ranting, what am I talking about here? The U.S. House of Representatives Ways and Means Committee, they're finally reforming the tax code, because the tax code in the United States is just a mess and it's ridiculous. This bill for the tax code that's in the U.S. House of Representatives is singling out violent video games and refusing them a proposed research and development tax break. I'm quoting from the Washington Examiner here. On page 19 of the executive summary, the committee mentions an improved and permanent research and development tax credit, which has benefited countless industries from manufacturers to software creators to food producers. As such, the bill proposes a so-called improved permanent R&D tax credit in order for American companies to compete against their foreign competition who have long had permanent R&D incentives. But on page 24 of the bill, it removes that tax credit from the violent video game industry under a section about closing loopholes. One of the plan's provisions preventing makers of violent video games from qualifying for the R&D tax credit. Lovely. Now, I actually do have people who are naysayers, who are against violent video games, or even if they like violent video games, they always come at me and say, "Hey, Rich, there isn't that much research, though. Maybe there is an issue with violent video games," which the first thing I always say is, right on the box of every damn game, there is an ESRB rating. So if a parent is going out there and buying their kid a game that is rated M for mature, and he is seeing people getting crowbars bashed into their skulls, and he's seeing boobs, you blame the parents. I have an 11-year-old brother. With the blessing of my parents, I bought him Left 4 Dead, which is an M-rated game. That is my responsibility, not the game developers or publishers. But beyond that, there has been studies. Actually, right before the holidays, I did a news story on this, but I'll talk about it again. There was a study published by the British Medical Journal, and they did a decade-long study of over 11,000 kids in the UK, and they found zero, zilch, dick, jack shit association between playing video games from as young as 5 and no mood or behavioral problems later in life. 11,000 kids, 10-year study. What else do you fucking need? But it isn't about that. They don't give a shit really about violent video games. This is politics. If you're into politics, I'm into politics. I try to keep abreast. I just felt like saying breast, but I try to keep abreast of what's going on with politics around the world and the United States and current events. And this, you know what it is? It's an election year. And you know what they're going to do? They're going to try to get money out of the gaming industry. They want them to lobby them, because here's what's going to happen. They're like, "Oh, wow, we're reforming the tax code, and those violent video games, even though we have no concrete evidence at all, and there's been studies done that show video games do jack shit to children, we're against violent video games. So we're going to put this provision in the tax code that doesn't let violent video game developers get a tax break. We're going to do this right now, video games industry. You should come and lobby to us and give us money for our campaigns. You really should. Maybe we'll change our minds if we have a discussion with a big check involved." Wink, wink. It's so annoying. Politics, it's all about that dollar. They have no other reason to do it. There's a rating on the game, which means that there's no responsibility on the publisher and developer's part. They rate the game letting the parents know There's no studies that the United States has done that at least have any concrete evidence that there's any negative effect on kids with video games. It's just a bullshit excuse because they know Americans, especially ones that don't game, which there's a lot of them, are ignorant to gaming. They may think there actually is something bad about gaming, and they want to milk money out of the gaming industry. Mark my words, this bill, this whole provision in the tax code, I guarantee you probably won't pass. And you know why it won't pass? Because I guarantee you big publishers and developers are probably going to go down to Washington and kiss their ass and lobby them, aka give them legal bribes to make it go away. I assure you. And the thing is, too, I forgot to mention this, even if this whole tax loophole does get closed up and American developers have to pay taxes because they're making violent video games, they're going to do it because violent video games is where most of the money is, because we enjoy murdering other people in video games. So it isn't that they're going to go anywhere, but I doubt this is going to pass anyway, because I guarantee you're going to have big time publishers and developers going down to Washington and stuffing politicians' pockets with a crap load of cash. Period. All right, folks, make sure to rate, comment, favorite, and subscribe. And as always, thank you for supporting Review Tech USA. Have a good one.